Welcome to Fit by Food, where we outsmart binge eating without restriction. I'm talking about today my love for plants and how plants helped me heal my relationship to my body. When I say plants, I mean fruits and vegetables and whole grains and everything that comes from the earth. the the other side of this, because we have the plant kingdom that gives us food, and then we have animals and animal byproducts. And that's the distinction between someone that eats plant-based and someone that eats like a carnivore, that eats everything. My journey started when I was 19 years old, so over 11 years now. Actually, 12 years now. Time goes so quick. I started eating this way because I realized that I could binge and not gain weight. And I did not understand why at all, but I just trusted blindly and tried it. And it worked. And I didn't understand why it worked. I just continued and I binged on fruits and vegetables and I lost weight. And it just like I didn't understand it at all. But then the quest for knowledge came into my life, and I started studying on my own. And eventually, I got a bachelor's degree in nutrition. So I now understand. But I also don't understand why this is not more common knowledge. And that is the aim for Fit by Food, and why I want to spread awareness about this. Because fruits and vegetables, plant based, are very differently used in the body. And we can see that not only does it eventually make us keep our ideal weight, but it also gives us so many health benefits that food that has animal and animal byproducts do not. I just ate fruits and vegetables and felt like before. I just felt like my stomach was so stretched after I binged, but I knew that I will shift my focus to these food groups and I will lose weight. And I just like kept having it to get proved to me that it actually worked. And I was so like confused because it didn't make sense to me. How can I be so full? How can I still binge and lose weight? And it does sound too good to be true, but it's not. If we look at the science behind this, it is based on the concept of calorie density, which means we can't look at food and see how much energy it will give us. A perfect example of this is that we have a cucumber and we see the materia in front of us, but it contains almost all water. It's dense, so it's a bit confusing, but it doesn't contain that many calories. And this is the same concept when it comes to a lot of things. If you take a tablespoon of oil, it's super little volume, but so many calories inside of the oil, the tablespoon of oil. It's liquid, so we don't connect it to being so calorie dense, but it is. This is why it works to just get the right knowledge and then continue on this path of eating foods that are very high in volume and low in calories and give you also health benefits. It allows you to keep binging and still lose weight. In module 1, I teach you about nutrition and give you the understanding to why this works. We go over the macronutrients, so carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. And then we also focus on vitamins and minerals and phytonutrients and fibers. But eventually you will get an understanding and embody the understanding and know with certainty why something works. So you will get this empowered knowledge of what is actually healthy. And that is what I want to give you, because you can feel so lost and so helpless when it comes to losing weight and feel this almost like the food is against you. It's not your friend. And it just like wakes up guilt directly inside your body when you eat. And this is what we are trying to rewire here, because we realize then that You can eat food, you can binge on food, but you will not gain weight. And you start to rebuild a bit of trust towards food when you keep choosing these foods and realize you won't have trouble fitting into your pants and gain weight and feel like a loser. You will feel relief, you will feel calmness, you will feel like finally, finally. As you regain trust towards food, you also regain trust towards yourself, because you're the one that's choosing what foods you're binging on. And if you have the awareness that these foods, at least if I binge, I will not gain weight, you will start to get a bit more trust towards yourself when you actually do binge. Because there is this distrust that we have from every time that we tried to use discipline to make ourselves not binge, and then we do it, and then we feel weak and we start to punish ourselves, and that just creates a bigger gap of distrust inside us. With plants, you have now a safe net, a safe toolbox of foods that you can eat and you can binge on, that you biohack your body down to its ideal size, and it fills up your stomach in a way so you're not eating too much, and the fullness is completely different. It will not make you feel full for so many hours. It will eventually go down quicker because it's mainly volume. You don't have to also get guilt from binging on unhealthy things when you choose the plant-based items, because they do contain so much good stuff for our body. So you have that also knowingness of, at least I'm doing this coping mechanism with something that is good for my body. And that will give you some bandage over the guilt that you're binging. This is a lived experience. You have to live it yourself to realize that it works. You can hear my story and understand where I'm coming from and see for yourself. This is like the only thing that can really sell it for you. If you are like super tired of dealing with your weight and yo-yo dieting and want something sustainable, give this a go. Switch to a plant-based high carb, that's important, high carb, low fat diet. So mainly fruits and vegetables. I would say around 80 to 85, almost 90% carbohydrates from plants. It will help you lose weight while still binging if you have to. And then you will eventually build trust with food, with your body, with yourself, but in time. Because trust, just like any relationship, if you break your trust with a partner, it will take a lot of action from their part for you to be able to trust again. And it is exactly the same when it comes to yourself, even more when it comes to yourself. You need to show up so that you can begin to trust yourself again and your word. And with this diet change, you're beginning to take a bit more responsibility of this coping mechanism, but without overwhelming yourself. And with the consideration of every time before that you've tried and given up because it was not sustainable, because you were starving yourself, or you were not being able to use your coping mechanism and you just felt awful. All those times will make you not believe your word when you start to switch to a different diet. But this diet is more forgiving, so you can still use your coping mechanism of binging if you need to. I'm not telling you to ever restrict your calories. You can still use the coping mechanism, but you switch up the food items. And eventually you begin to rebuild the trust. And I will eventually make videos on trust, self-trust, and responsibility, because they're very big themes in this particular area. But for now, thank you for watching, and remember, it is possible to get fit by food.